Hey there, my emptiness friends. Do you have an inkling to maybe downsize and move? Perhaps you've gone through a divorce and you're not quite sure what to do next. Well, today in studio, I have Suzanne Searcy Johnson, who is a writer, poet, and simplicity advocate. And Suzanne helps people simplify by honoring their internal, relational, spiritual, and environmental connections, as outlined in her latest book, Beyond Decluttering 40 Days to Experiencing Simplicity Through Connection. She's a fellow empty nester, and we're going to get into her story and more right now. Suzanne, welcome to This Empty Nest Life.
It's so good to be here, Jay. Thanks.
Oh, it's good to see you again. I know we've
Mhm,
connected outside of the studio here a couple of times just to get to know each other.
mhm.
And your story, I think, will be interesting to listeners because, A, the writing piece, the Decluttering piece, and you've done that and you've actually downsized all the way to a tiny home, which I think people may be interested to hear a little bit about that journey. So, what drove you to say, you know what, I'm going to leave Nashville? I think you've been there. You were almost there 40 years, not 40
Mhm.
days, 40 years. It's interesting, 40 days and 40 years. Let's
Yeah.
be able to get into that piece too. And then you moved to Austin recently, just this past fall,
Mhm.
fall of 25. Tell me more about that. Like, how did that all come to be?
Well, Jay, I think a lot of people during maybe from 2015 on, a lot of people started watching those tiny house shows, and I certainly did Tiny House Nation, and I just thought, "Oh, this is the greatest. This would be wonderful to do." And but the reality of it, you see like, families. I can't imagine a couple with small children living in a tiny house, but I was enthralled. I did like everybody else and watched all the shows, but because I had already been on a simplicity journey and had simplified a lot of aspects of my life, I still had a lot of belongings, but it really intrigued me on a deeper level. The thought of reducing my need to consume, the thought of being in a community. So those things drove me further than maybe most people go. And about 3 years ago, my sister who lives near Austin found a tiny home community, and I came to visit and just fell in love with it. And it worked out that I was able to move here once my youngest, went off to college, and I became an empty nester. So, it happened pretty quickly. He went to college, and a month later, I'm in Austin. So
Okay, so that happened quick, but your journey to the simplicity piece, I think, has been ongoing,
mhm,
even more than just like things. Tell me more
right.
about like that viewpoint of yours of, ooh, simplicity can be more than just how much you have.
So, I have always been interested in simplicity. I from a young age, maybe in my 30s, I started reading books on simplicity. I found one in particular that was written in 1895 called The Simple Life by Charles Wagner, and it had timeless truths in it about just for me, let me first define simplicity as I see it. It's letting go of the things that get in the way of the life I want. Those can be material things. They can be emotional things. They're not limited to what's in my home. And so what he touched on in that book was about finding your purpose in life, working out your mission, and then focusing on that, allowing the other things to take a second place to that. So number of books I was reading, I was decluttering. I was simplifying in some ways, but I still felt like there was more. Let me put it that way. I felt like there was more. And then about 10 years ago, some things shifted in me. Actually, I started writing a book based on his, and it you know how when you teach something, you you really learn it and you really internalize it?
Absolutely.
That's when it was I had all of the bins with the pretty labels and everything organized in the closet, and I could open it and feel good and shut it and still feel good and be happy with my environment, but there was still some internal stuff, internal work that had to be done. Just look at what has my life been up to this point? How have I hurt other people? What do I need to do to make that right? how have I maybe not taken the risks to look to do the things that I love to do, like writing? And so it was a couple of years of that internal work as well that got me to where I am today. And today, and I'll just touch on this, the 4 areas of connect. So I look at simplicity happening through connection. I'm not sitting over here in my tiny house all by myself up on a mountain. It's about connection. The first one is nature, connecting with nature. The second is connecting with other people relationally. The third is some type of spiritual connection. We each define what that is for ourselves. And then the fourth is that internal, which is truly, what a lot of people who come to you are looking to do. I'm empty nesting, and now what? And I've got to look inside and see, who am I once my children are gone? And so those 4 pillars, if you will, of connection are what I look at.
Okay. So to me, I'm hearing there's a little bit of a difference between simplicity and having a simple life. Like you can simplify aspects of your life, but until it's like all comes together, then there may be something that's tugging one way or another that makes it feel like maybe it's not so simple.
True, and I do think you're not one and done, and it's not just a goal, I reach that, and then everything's great. It's for me, it becomes a way of life, and that's the key. And when I say simplicity becomes a way of life, it's I don't for example, when I connect to nature daily, I'm out walking, whatever I'm doing, digging in the dirt, looking at the trees, looking at the clouds. If I'm connecting to nature, then I am, but besides the physical and the emotional benefits that we all know that it gives us, it also informs my actions. So if I care about this planet, am I really going to buy cheap products that are made of plastic to just for the heck of it? Or am I going to think about the impact on the environment? That's like just one aspect of it. If I'm connecting to other people on a deep level, putting my phone away, looking them in the eye, really listening, then I'm going to naturally gravitate to those relationships that are meaningful to me. And I'm going to spend time with those people. And that's simple too. To me, that is simplicity, being with the people that I'm meant to be with. And then spiritually, for me, what's simple about that is the peace that I receive. When I am connected to my higher power, then my life is simple in that I know in my gut what the right thing is to do. Or it's just that peace and that serenity. And then the internal, again, I think you do such a good job of touching on this on your podcast and getting people to tell their stories around that. But that internal piece where I can know I have that intuition. And so decisions are simple. It's like you said, my moving here, that decision was really quick, but it was like 9 years, 10 years in the making. But I just knew. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to ask everyone's advice. I just knew that it was the right thing for me.
Yeah, when we met one time, we were talking. I think courage came up,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and it was like, oh, okay. Well, how do I get the courage to move to Austin? And I think I said, well, you don't get the courage. You do things, and that's how you build courage. And so,
Yeah.
as I'm thinking about you sharing your story a little bit, it's oh, the 9-year ramp up were all little tiny things that built courage,
Mhm.
right? Whether it was getting rid of things in the house or b- building relationships, stronger relationships with your kids, whatever it may have been for you, right? Every step along the way was something that you did to build courage. And then you were like, oh, it's just a month, boom, boom, done. Right? People hear that and be like, I made a decision and then I moved.
Yeah, no.
The ramp up to it. So if you have the 4 pillars, okay, I would assume people can attack those in any, right? Start to focus on them on any order that's important to them.
Mhm.
How did it go for you? Do you remember which one you tackled first and then second, then third, and then fourth?
So in the book, I outline that to me, the order is important if someone's just, like, wanting to follow a path, and it's like you say sometimes, we have everything mapped out for us, right? We have our what happens when you graduate from high school? What happens when you graduate from college? What happens when you retire? But you fill this gap of what do I do when I'm empty nesting before I'm retiring? And so just like you have that blueprint that works, I have a blueprint that is in a certain order, but only because it's easier to ease into it. So let me start with the nature piece is the easiest because most people don't have emotional baggage around that, right? It's pretty easy to say, okay, I'll walk once a day, or I'll just go outside and look at the clouds and see what images come up like I did when I was a child, or just little bitty things. That's the easiest piece to start with. And then relationships, because we come in contact with people every day, I tackle that next. We come back to all it's a cycle. They all get integrated. We come back to all of them, but I do put them in a specific order in the book. So it's nature, then relationships, then the spiritual, whatever that means to you. We explore that. But when all of that is in place, then it's or at least starting, I shouldn't say in place, when all of that's moving, then we go internal and say, okay, now really, I can look at number one, I can look at things, my behaviors maybe that aren't great, that haven't been great in the past, and I can make those right. But then I can also see the gifts that I have, the abilities that I have, the way that I show up for people, all the good things, and look into, well, maybe there's something that's really lighting my fire that I'm not giving enough attention to. Maybe my purpose can change. Like we have a purpose when we're raising children that's primary, and then when they're gone, maybe my main purpose shifts to something else. And so we're able to look at that. And then, of course, they all overlap, they're all integrated. So in the book, I do spend some time looking at how they overlap and what activities we can do to see that come to life in our own journey.
Yeah, it was a great point that you made earlier. It's like it's not a one and done. Like you
Yeah.
don't handle the one piece and then be like, "All right, I'm done with that one,"
Yeah.
and then move to the next one. It's like they're moving in unison with each other,
Mhm.
right? That's what
Yep.
the feeling I get how you describe it is, okay, now I've got all these four pillars moving together,
Mhm.
and at any given time, I'm gonna have to work on one of them. Okay.
Right. That's a
Is there
really good point.
anything you're
Or
working
more
on right
than
now?
right now, I don't for the I'm doing more spiritual work right now, but at certain times, I can tell you specifically, there was a time when I really focused on relationships and making right the things that I had the ways that I had hurt people or the actions that I'd taken that might have affected them. You mentioned I'll bring it up, you mentioned, I am divorced, and so I had to look at, okay, that decision, how that impacted my family, my children, all of that, and so I think you're right, you're very insightful. There are times when we focus more on one than the others, but I believe they just become this foundation that every day life gets to be interesting, and And what's funny is people think and I'm not a minimalist, although I strive to be a minimalist. I'm not really a minimalist, but people look at that and they think, well, simplicity is boring. Simplicity is the furthest thing from boring. It is exciting because I get to fully experience, like I get to focus my attention and truly experience life without as many distractions. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, yeah, the distractions of how much you have or that closet that's full or you need to get rid of something or
Mhm.
even though we may well, that's something I'm gonna do later, it still weighs on your subconscious,
Mhm.
right?
I
When we have
think so.
piles and piles of things, and I think that's true of every single pillar you mentioned, right? If you're
Mhm.
not getting out and walking and being in nature, like, that weighs on you even though you might not think it.
Mhm.
Same thing with the items, the same thing with the spiritual piece, the same thing with relationships. All of those components weigh on you.
Mhm.
So with your move, is there anything that's weighing on you still from all of those, or you
Well,
found some peace right now in the moment?
so there's so many things I could tell you about this place. We don't have all day, so I'll, specifically say that when I moved here, I chose to move to a community. A lot of people do tiny house living on someone's property or out in the wilderness or whatever. I chose to move to a community. It's an agrihood, an agriculture neighborhood. So it's built around an organic farm. And what I have found here is a tremendous amount of community. So I guess you could say I'm working on the relational piece as well because I have connected with people on such a deep level so quickly. Working, we have a community garden that we're setting up where you can get a plot and grow your own vegetables, flowers, whatever. And we're getting it ready. We're putting soil into the beds. And so it's a volunteer thing on Saturday mornings. And I'm getting to know the community in that way. And that has been wonderful. I am an introvert by nature. And to see me like really loving to sit out on my front porch and talk to my neighbors and do all that, it's been a growth thing for me, but it's been wonderful. In addition to that, when I moved here, I had pared down. I had taken 3 years to pare down, and I still have too much stuff. I have my bedroom is downstairs, but I have a loft upstairs that right now, well, my cat loves being up there, but it's it's primarily being used for storage. I will always keep some things. I'll always have to store the Christmas decorations that I still have or off-season clothes or whatever, but there are still things that I need to go through up there to pare down further. So that's another area that I'm working on right now is
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
tell people how much space you have just so they
Oh,
know.
yeah. It's 399 square feet, um, which is pretty small, but it's just me. And I do have a loft, as I mentioned, and I do have a front and a back porch. So the front porch is open. People say, well, when you want to chat with people, sit on your front porch. When you want to be outside but be alone, sit on your back porch because the back porch is more enclosed. So front and back porch, which is so nice. It's and in Austin, typically it gets hot. I moved here when it was really hot, but still it's for me because I grew up in Louisiana, it's comfortable most of the time. Right now, it's chilly for me. You're in Boston, so you'll laugh at this. It's like 50s. It got into the 30s last night, and that's really cold for
That's
me.
really cold, yeah.
Yeah. But,
It's 30 degrees here now, so I'm like, "Yeah, this
yeah,
is," and that'll be the high for today.
yeah,
So,
no. That just I when I came to Boston, it was 75 and sunny, and I picked the perfect time. But for me, like, I can be outside 9 months out of the year enjoying the front and the back porch and chatting with people, that sort of
okay,
thing.
I wanna hit on something you mentioned. I don't think it was gonna come up in this conversation, but you said, "I'm an introvert," but you're enjoying sitting on the front porch. Is that because you found a community of like-minded folks who are like you, so you know what you get if maybe you open up a conversation with somebody?
That's an interesting question because we are like-minded in a lot of ways, but the different life experiences that people bring here, the people here are so interesting to me. My next door neighbor's from Vermont. He had a farm up there. He's done everything under the sun. Just very interesting. I We have vegans who live here who are educating me about I'm primarily vegetarian, but I eat meat and I eat dairy and that sort of thing, and they're educating me about that. Like one woman who has run vegan organizations across the country, so she's just got a wealth of knowledge. And then you've got the farmers who had the vision. They've been here 20 years and they had the vision for this place, and so I get to chat with them and learn about their experience. So I think, yes, in a lot of ways, but we're also very different in our experience, and I find that very intriguing.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. It's like almost all of everybody's paths in the community kinda led them to this point.
yeah, Right.
but what they experienced outside wasn't exactly the same. Ended up in the same spot for a reason.
And I find a range. There are a lot of people around my age, but then there are there's one couple that just got married and they've been here 5 years. So, they're young, and so there's just this range, and of course, I haven't met everybody, but just the people that I meet in working with the garden and stuff. It's a range of ages.
Yeah. How many total homes?
There's about 100 right now.
Oh, okay, so that's much bigger than what I
Mm.
envisioned.
Yeah, and they're even looking at opening up a phase 4, a new phase, but the market's kinda slow right now. There are some resales available, so but the market's a little slow right now, but I think it'll eventually be about 120, I think is the number. I may be wrong about that.
Yeah, so that's much bigger than I thought, which
Mhm.
then lends itself to being like, "Oh, yeah, there's a lot of different people who
Yeah.
bring a lot of different things to the neighborhood, to the conversations that you're
Mhm.
having, what you're learning." What's one thing about yourself that you've learned in this whole journey?
I think just what I just hit on is I am an introvert, and by that I mean, when I'm around large groups of people, it drains my energy, and I have to just be alone to renew that energy, and I am finding how much I love being around groups of people. Now, still not large groups. They have so many activities here. That's another thing with this community. They have activities like every week, it seems. And so, you Thanksgiving gathering or the Halloween party, those kinds of things are still a bit much for me. But the smaller gatherings, I love. It's been great. And that's what has surprised me is normally in the past, I would just stay in my little house or apartment and not get out. And here, it's surprising to me how often I am wanting to be with the people in the community.
That is amazing. It's not like
Mhm.
you're moving from introvert to ambivert. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
term
that's
I haven't heard.
yeah, ambivert is somebody who floats between both,
Mm,
and it's all given on situation. It's all situational,
right.
right? They're not fully introverted and they're not fully extroverted. Like, they do get energy from one-on-one or three-on-one kind of conversations, small group things, but they still
Mhm.
need to have their downtime to rest and
Right.
relax and re-energize to go at it again. They're
Mhm.
not fully an introvert. So it's interesting that
Right.
you're maybe exploring that a little bit too.
Right. And I've always loved people, and I've always enjoyed, like you said, the one-on-one. Um, but yeah, I'm finding that's expanding a bit here.
Okay,
So
so what's
it's never too late, right?
never too late. That is true. You can always learn and grow. What's your favorite thing about your new tiny home?
Well, the community is great. I just like oh, I know. This is a simple thing, it may not be my favorite thing, but I don't have to search for things. How often do you find that you can't find something and you look all over the house for it? I know where everything is.
That's
It's
awesome.
so great. Again, maybe not my favorite thing, but it's like a surprising thing that I hadn't expected.
Yeah. I
And
love that you said it was a simple thing,
yeah,
right?
right,
When we're talking about simplicity, you're like,
right.
"Oh, it's not my favorite thing about the house, but it's a simple thing I
Uh-huh,
like about it."
uh-huh. And I do that I wouldn't have a tiny home that didn't have a bedroom downstairs. I have all the space I need, and I'm surrounded by the things that are meaningful to me. I had a wonderful childhood, and I have a lot of little things from my childhood that bring me joy, and then, of course, pictures of my kids because they bring me joy, and I have a digital frame that, scrolls through
Oh, that
pictures,
repeats photos,
and
yeah.
they can upload from through their email. All my kids can upload through their email photos to this digital frame, and I normally have it out, and I'm careful when I turn it on because I get so distracted when it's on. I wanna look at all of them. But right now, I have, a few little choice Christmas decorations up instead of that.
Very
But, I
nice.
mean, I just have the things that bring me joy around me.
Yeah. And I think there's something in that, right? Where simplicity can be joyful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's for me, it's truly being where I am, being where my feet are. And
Mm. Well, I love that phrase. Yeah.
yeah, it's just, and there's so much joy in that. And there's joy in knowing that when I connect with a person, when I have a conversation, I'm not there about me. It is my life and I'm having a conversation with them, but I don't have to be the center of it. It's getting to know that person, and it's a beautiful thing, finding out that all their rich and vast experiences that brought them to this place. So
Yeah. It's almost like you have some, I don't know, intentional curiosity in your
mhm.
new community, like learning about the people who are there.
Yes. Yes, and I now that I think when you put it like that, I think, "Wow, I wish I'd had that all along." But I guess we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, we're always where we are based upon our own journeys, but there is something about just being intentionally curious of, ooh, I'm meeting somebody new. Like, what are they going to bring to the
Mhm.
conversation? What are they going to bring to the table, if you will? And it's interesting to watch that kind of journey that you've had here in the last couple of months. We've talked about it off air a little bit
Mhm.
around, oh, yeah, I'm here and I'm joining it. And here's all the great things about it. And I'm learning a new city. Actually, I even haven't had time to learn the new city because I'm just getting acclimated to the community.
Yeah, I got a Rand McNally, like a map, fold-out map. I may have told you this when I saw you recently, but I got a fold-out paper map because my sense of direction is not good at all, and I use navigation to go everywhere, but I need to understand where I am in relation to where I'm going. I need to see the big map. It's old school, but it's helped me. I'm actually starting to learn the city, Jay, can you believe that?
Oh, that's awesome. It's awesome. I having been there recently myself. It's a great city.
Mm,
It's a
I
really
love it.
great city.
I love it.
Well, my goes straight to you have this big map now. Where do you put it? You don't have a whole lot of room.
Oh, it's folded and put in here.
Oh.
Because I actually, for the first time in my life, was able to fold I've been able to fold it back. You remember how you would get the
Oh,
maps
sure.
out and
Yep.
never be able somehow I've been able to fold it back up and it
There you
stays in
go.
this
Your new surroundings require you to know how to fold a map down to a proper size.
Yes. I
I
guess I
guess.
just wanted to pat myself on the back when I did it the first time.
Okay. Well, where can people find your book? The
Okay,
Beyond Decluttering book, yeah.
so I think the easiest way to find all of my books are through my website. So it's SuzanneSearcyJohnson.com and the slash books if you wanna go straight to that, but there's a section on my website with my books. It's available on Amazon but I'll have links directly from there.
Perfect. Now
Mhm.
you have a new book coming out too.
So, the Beyond Decluttering is right around the time this airs, probably
Yep.
January 13th, and then I'm working on my grown-up gap year because everything that I've experienced in the last year in preparation for this move, the downsizing process, moving into a tiny home, traveling, all of those things, I looked at it like a gap year in between what I was doing before, where I was living before, and what it's like now as an empty nester. And so I'm putting that on paper and hoping to have that one spring to summer time frame.
There you go.
Mhm.
From Nashville to Austin, a grown-up
Yes.
gap year.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and
I
all
love
points
that
in between.
all points in between. I love that you're calling it that
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
really, I think, will resonate with people to say, "Oh, you know what? Kids go and they finish college or they you finish high school even and do a gap year before they go to college or afterwards
Mhm.
before they get into the workplace." But you're like, "No, I took a gap year from like one part of my life to the next."
Well, and I do think a lot of people that I talk to, and I talk to primarily women about this type of thing, but a lot of them look at it like, "I have planned for, empty nesting, plan for retirement. This is where I expect to be. I've got this house now, I'm settled, and since this is the plan that I've had all along, this is where I'm gonna stay." But just because we've had a plan doesn't mean the plan can't change or evolve. And there is a lot of opportunity. Certainly, I'm coming from a place of privilege to say that, but for a lot of us, there is opportunity for making decisions differently, doing things differently, um, and two, being in a tiny home and having reduced my expenses so much does allow for that. Being able to drive to Phoenix and see my son or fly somewhere, and checking out. I have a daughter in Ecuador, and so being able to travel and see her. So all of those things came together for me, but for your listeners, certainly we're not locked into something just because that's what we thought we wanted 10 years ago. If it is what you still want, great, go for it. But as you encourage people, examine, see what brings you joy, see what your heart is telling you, and then don't assume that it can't be done.
Yeah, that's the best, I think, takeaway is like your example is perfect, right? Some people are like, "Oh, I could never do that." And some people may be saying, well, she's single at the moment and she can live in a tiny home. Me and my spouse, how do we make that work? Well, I don't know what the requisite is for what a tiny home is. Like, is it under 1,000 square feet? Is it under 1,500 square feet? What makes a tiny home? And how do you get into one? It's
Yeah.
possible, right? There's plenty of couples who live in your neighborhood,
Hmm.
I would imagine. What is
Yes.
it? What the requisite is for?
So they say a tiny home by definition is under 400 square feet, which is why these are 399 square feet. All the different floor plans here are all right there. But you don't have to be in you don't have to just be in a tiny home. It's whatever works for let's say that I lived in 2,800 square feet and had 3 kids and huge house, and then the kids are gone, and my spouse and I are looking at each other. What is all this here for? I had a 3-bedroom townhouse. I had 2 kids at home. So, but at that point, you say, well, maybe it's 1,000 square feet. Maybe it's 1,200 square feet. The square footage is irrelevant to me unless you want to
Mhm.
go tiny. It's about what works for my life now. And then what do I want to go towards? For example, I knew that I wanted to go tiny. It was in me. It was just something I couldn't shake. So I went from a 1,700 square foot townhouse with 3 bedrooms, a garage, and an attic to a 2-bedroom apartment that was about 1,100 square feet. And I did that for 3 years. And so that helped me in the interim to downsize and say, okay, is this still what I want? And I could look at the apartment and say, this is the area that I'll have in 400 square feet. And then I was like, yes, I could absolutely do that. And so it's just, I think it's really more about what works for an individual, a couple, a family. It's not about square footage.
Yeah, excellent
Mhm.
point. It's like what works best for you. And
Mhm.
this is at your stage in life right now. This is what works best for you.
Yes, I'm so happy here.
Yeah. I before I let you go, like what I'm just curious, what's motivating you in life right now? You've done all the things, right? You've
Mhm.
downsized, you got to where you are, you're in your tiny home, you're meeting people. Like what's motivating you now and what comes next?
So a couple things come to mind. One thing that's motivating me is my writing. I'm just entrenched in it and enjoying it so much. And I'm motivated with the books and my writing. I also find that maybe not a motivator, but something that I'm doing is it's basically adaptability. I'm adapting to my environment because things are not convenient in this space
Mm,
necessarily. Some things are convenient. It just takes a little more it takes a little more effort to do laundry, for example, because I don't have a laundry room. But everything and my kitchen, I love my kitchen, but it is tiny. I keep my pots and pans in the oven because I rarely ever use my oven. That's my storage. So it's just the adaptability, the recognition that everything doesn't have to be easy to be useful and meaningful. But yeah, I think I think that's been a key for me, but the motivation, the writing, getting to know my neighbors, all of that, it gets me up. I'm fired up every day, let me put it that way.
I love it. I love it. What's one tip before I let you go? One tip that people can lean into if they want to start moving towards a more simple life.
Oh, I think that's just slowing down long enough, like, just every day, spend 5 to 10 minutes a day to slow down, preferably be outside, but even if you're inside, just spend 5 to 10 minutes each day breathing, being aware of your surroundings, basically mindfulness. Just spend that time in mindfulness, and it makes a difference. 5 minutes can make a difference, and the more we do that, the more we incorporate that into our lives, the more in tune we become to who we are and what we want out of this life.
Yeah, so good. 5 minutes, folks. That's it. 5 minutes. And this episode's gone a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but it's chock full of so many fantastic things. We'll make sure, Suzanne, to get your link to your books so
Mhm.
people can take a look. I know you also have some poetry books that are out there that people may be interested in as well. But Beyond Decluttering, 40 Days to Experiencing Simplicity Through Connection, coming out in January about this time. This episode drops, and then we'll look for your grown-up gap year a little bit later in 2026. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful conversation.